Good morning to you. Welcome to KTN News Special. I'm Nokip Kimboy, and today we are focusing on matters education, and to be specific, technical education in the country. What exactly is going on in this particular level of education? Is it being done right? Is the placement right? And those are some of the questions that we're going to explore today. Starting and joining me in the panel this morning, of course, being a gentleman, I'll start by introducing a lady, Miss Agnes Mercy, who is the acting CEO, Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Services. Then we have Mr. Paul Mukoma, who is the CEO of Talanta Institute. And lastly, we have Dr. Eusebius Juma Mukhwana, who is the CEO, Kenya National Qualifications Authority. Lady, gentlemen, welcome to KTN News Special. Starting off, Paul, you run an institution. How was it affected by COVID-19?
I mean, we are among the industries that were really affected. Thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss this. And yes, education was among the sectors that were really affected by COVID. Of course, we had to close down, and that affected cash flow, that affected so many things. And so we are bouncing back, and we feel COVID has also taught us so many valuable lessons. It has actually, hastened our, moving online and doing some things virtually. So we'd say, yes, COVID had a negative effect, but at the same time, it has taught us some very important lessons.
Definitely a lot of lessons to learn through this COVID period. It has really, exposed so much potential that we didn't know we had. And Agnes, coming to you, you deal with placement, of universities and colleges. We know COVID-19 disrupted the calendar, the academic calendar. Shed some more light on how it affected the placement in these higher learning institutions.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to join you on studio today. Yes, COVID-19, like we all know, nobody prepared. We've had lessons. In terms of placement, this came just before we did our cycle of placement, and we had to be limited to going out to meeting the students who had sat for the exams and getting them to know how to do their revision for the placements, the ones who are joining the university now. We got limited in terms of our career guidance activities. We always have programs in schools where we visit schools and we enlighten them on the available careers and the available courses in the universities and colleges, so that in that way we were limited. However, we had an opportunity to challenge ourselves and think out of the box, use technology, so we were able to reach a lot of Kenyans on matters career guidance using the technology. Yeah.
Definitely. Technology actually seems to be an overarching, topic and tool that COVID-19 has pushed everyone. Dr. Mukhwana, the issue about qualification, it is what you do, it is your specialty. In this COVID period, has there been a shift or a change that you've observed in terms of what areas people are looking to be qualified under? Because we know digital skills is one of the tools that people do need to operate in this new normal that we are now in.
Yes, thank you for hosting me, and I want to join my colleagues in saying that COVID has brought to the surface some of the issues that we have been talking about for a long time. As an institution that is tasked with ensuring that the qualifications are of high quality, because part of what we do is to set national standards for qualifications, to ensure that the qualifications that we generate into the market are of high quality and are relevant to the market. One of the areas that we have seen is that we are now coming up with because previously we had rules and standards on qualifications and how they met the Kenyan standard. We've now been forced to revise those rules to ensure that even as colleges move to teach online and examine online, that the quality of those qualifications remain good. So part of what we are doing, the other issue also that we do at the Kenya National Qualifications Authority is that we recognize, we equate, and verify qualifications. And before COVID, we were doing it using a manual system, so we had many, many young people and students that came to our offices. And within a day or so, we stopped the whole service because of government regulations that people should not access our offices. And I'm happy to say that this challenged us and we developed an online system. So we continued to offer this service of recognition, equation and verification using an online platform. We have also revised our rules and regulations on how colleges can teach online to ensure that the teaching remains of high quality. And more importantly, before this, we had never attempted examinations online. So we have now colleges and universities moving to offer exams online, and the authority has developed appropriate rules and regulations to guide using of online platforms for examinations to ensure that they are fair and they are valid and they are relevant. So that's where we are.
Definitely. And Paul, what Dr. Mukhwana has spoken about, these changes, have they been adequately communicated to these learning institutions like Talanta Institute? Have you guys gotten an update on how you are to do these online classes that you've been doing?
Yes, we've gotten the communication, but we must admit it's work in progress because this was a time of crisis that so many of these things had to be done so fast. So it's a process. So we've learned, we've gotten information of some of the things we need to do. Some of the other guidelines are still coming up. Like Dr. Juma said about how do you do assessments. Being a TVET institution, most of the courses we train are technical. Now we train in film production, camera operations. So there are some of those things that doing online, we are still identifying how do you assess somebody, how they use a camera online. And we have discovered that some of these things have to be a hybrid of both, that yes, there are things that can be done online. Yes, there are things that need contact. So yes, I admit this communication is being done, but also some of the other guidelines and rules are being developed as we progress.
Agnes, let's delve into this issue of technical institutions in the country. First of all, with placement, normally the focus is on higher, on universities, to say the least. Actually, I think 2 years ago there was a student who scored an A, and he said he wanted to go to a TVET institution, and that was a big story. Mm-hmm. And his argument was, I need the technical know-how, of which I don't think the universities do offer. So in the placement arena, why is there not so much focus on technical institutions?
I would like to first say that it all begins with our attitudes. For a long time, the notion of going for technical courses has always been seen as, a space for people who have failed in their exams. So if you didn't make it to the university, then you go for a diploma or certificate or artisan course. But that's not the case. We really want to change that narrative and say that TVET courses are, a space where you get more skills, practical skills on the course that you have, or the career that you would like to pursue. Let me give an example. You find in some countries, somebody will pursue a degree course, and once they are done, they go back and do a diploma course so that they can get the practical skills. For example, an engineer will go back and do plumbing so that they are able to combine these two skills. So when we had a student get an A, I think it was an A-, and they preferred to take a TVET course. For me, I think that's the right way of thinking in terms of somebody first being able to step aside and say, it doesn't matter what everybody thinks. First, I need to pursue what I feel is right for me, what I find is exciting for me, and then go for it regardless of the level of, whether degree, diploma, or artisan. So as COOPs, we are placing students in technical institutions. For the time being, we are placing in those that are under government, the government program, and mainly the Ministry of Education. So we are placing in about 163 centers. And this is the third year. We've had 3 years now that we've placed students in TVET institutions under the government scholarships.
Indeed, a work in progress. Yes. Dr. Juma, is it because of certification? Because, an employer is looking for somebody to do something. Majority of the minimum qualification, you should have a degree and maybe some work experience. So is this our society's notion towards the purpose that we hold other than the skills, or what are we missing?
Thanks. I think it is partly part of our colonial history. We have moved, if you look at the globally, you can almost say that the development level of a country is determined by how many TVET graduates we have. If you think about it, TVET is our life. If you're talking about plumbers, you're talking about masons, road engineers, people that do construction, cooking, film. So you actually see that TVET is part of our life. But then as a country, I think because of our policies that have not worked very well in the past, we have overemphasized the issue of degrees, and everybody went rushing to get papers. You remember what the economy is looking for is not papers. The economy is looking for skills. What really grows this country, what an employer is looking for, is a set of skills that will help them to achieve a task. And so because of this rush for papers, and so we have ended up producing a lot of graduates that now do not have jobs. So I always say that we now have ended up with a situation where we have jobs without people and people without jobs in the same space, because we have not been emphasizing TVET enough. And so the feeling now is, if you really want to take Kenya to the next level, to the next development arena, TVET is critical. And so and I'm happy that the Ministry of Education, my peers, and the CS are really working on this, and we see now a lot of interest in the area of TVET, both in support, infrastructure, new equipment, new teachers. And I think that with the direction that we have taken, because 3 years ago, we had less than 100,000 students enrolled in the TVET sector. Today, as we talk, we are nearly 500,000. So I see that there is a transformation. I see that there is an appreciation. And as an authority, we are working to ensure that the people who come out of TVET really have skills to change this economy. That they don't also end up having papers like graduates, because usually when you increase the numbers, part of what suffers is quality. So our role is to ensure that as we increase the numbers, that the graduates still come out with good skills that they can practice in the place of work.
Definitely. And Paul, for example, for Talanta Institute doing film is very practical, like many other technical courses. Yeah. You need to take time and spend time with your camera to learn the settings, the lighting, all this. It works best in a small and intimate environment. Mm-hmm. And we've seen also large institutions, universities, offering similar courses that you're offering. So from your observation over the years that you've been in business, have you seen that transition where maybe some people are feeling in a larger setting, they're leaving larger settings and setups, for example, universities, to come to this technical spaces to be able to acquire some of these skills?
Yeah, thank you very much. No, and yes, I agree. I've seen some people, some of them drop out of university to go back to TVET, but some of them also graduate then, like Mercy has said, and then go and do a TVET course. Case and study, one time we trained a graduate of Kenyatta University. He was doing film there, and he came to do a short course. Because ours was really more practical. He has the camera every time doing the projects. So he came and did a short course. Then out of that, he was able to go back and do the masters, and he became one of the best trainers at the university and the Kenya Film School. So I see right now people's mindset has changed. Some people, they may go to university and feel, no, this is not the place for me, go to TVET. Some may wait and graduate. We've gone to an extent of training trainers here, or lecturers in university. They've done up to master's level or doctorate level, but they feel, I need to learn skills. I need to learn technical skills. So, and that's why I feel TVET, or what we are doing, is a way of life. It should not be taken as a course on its own, or a level that if you don't attain these marks, you go to TVET. No, it should be taken as part of the system, part of the education system, where you can actually go through TVET, then to university, and we've seen so many people do that. Or you can go start with university, then go to TVET and learn a skill. So it should not be seen as a place for people who have failed to attain a grade for university. You can get an A and still go to TVET. You can get an E and start at TVET and progress. Like Dr. Juma has said, you can progress and start an artisan course, a certificate course, go in levels until you can go to a doctorate level, because there is that route now where you can start at TVET and keep attaining, levels of education. It may take you longer, but you can achieve your wildest dreams through TVET. So it should not be taken as, separate. It should be taken as any other, it's the same as university, and as a mainstream, or like, like any other, course, whether it's engineering, there is a TVET level of that, and this should actually be, they should all marry and to produce, the best, the best people for the industry.
Collaboration is very important in all this. Agnes, looking at the programs that we have, that you place people under in colleges and universities, we have 529 degree programs, 215 diploma programs, 109 certificate programs, 137 artisan programs. So we can see that trend. Degrees, we have so many programs. You've said for the past 3 years the government has really been intentional to direct people towards technical courses. Is there any other, alternatives and ways that you're pushing also and boosting technical training?
Yes, we have been working directly with the technical colleges, especially the national polytechnics. We have 11 in the country. And we have been working on a marketing program. How can they be able to market their programs better? I always make a joke and say, every time you look at the website of most of our learning institutions, what we see is a gate, a very big gate. And my question is, does that sell the programs we have in that institution? So I feel there is a deliberate need to market the programs that we have. I've now learned that Talanta has filming. How many programs, beautiful programs, do we have out there that are not known to Kenyans? So you find, because of that mindset that it has to be degree, then you find even the universities are getting very creative and having more and more university courses listed in our website. We work with a TVET institution so that we are able to link the public with what they are offering. So once they join and become part of the members of COOPS, then we are able to market for them the courses that are out there. So allow me to just make a point. We are moving into a new education system, the CBC. Yes, and we have students now, I think, in grade 4. We need to think as TVET institutions, what will it look like at the TVET level, you know, for those students? What will be the minimum requirements to get to do a degree under this CBC curriculum, to do a diploma or to do a certificate or artisan course? And I'm sure my brother, Dr. Muhwana, is already thinking that way, because for us we need that so that we are able to start marketing the courses in that new dispensation of the CBC. So it's interesting to see how things evolve, because that definitely will affect our placement criteria.
Definitely. And Dr. Muhwana, just briefly before we take a break, the issue of, you know, CBC, Agnes has touched on it. How will this revolutionize technical training in the country?
Yes, just before I come to that, I wanted to indicate that one of the things that we are working with Mercy and her team is that current admissions were based only on KCSE, for example. And we do know that part of what the Kenya National Qualifications Authority has created is alternative pathways to education. So part of what we have been talking about is issues of credit accumulation and transfer. How does a certificate or an artisan student progress to a certificate level? And we have already provided for that, and we are working with them to so that that criteria can be included in the admission. A diploma student that wants to do a degree, and at which level do they start? And we have already, what we are doing now is we are doing this profession by profession, and we have already completed for the agricultural sector the universities and the colleges. So we have had workshops and meetings where we brought universities and TVET institutions and examination bodies together to determine if a student has a diploma from Bukura College and wants to join Egerton University, where do they start? So this has been done and it has been adopted, and we would like this to be included as part of the admission criteria. The other great thing that is on the horizon is the issue of recognition of prior learning, because part of what we have done, we started here by talking about skills. And we do know that we have people with skills in this country that have not gone to any class. So your average mechanic, the one who repairs your car, or your mason who is building your house, really don't have a paper, but they have skills. They can fix tiles, they can do plumbing. So part of what we are developing, and we have already rolled out a national policy on how to recognize skills that have been acquired without people going to class. This is provided both within the law, and this is what we are calling recognition of prior learning. So we are now working on a national framework for rolling out identification of skills. So you will find that in the Juakali sector, we have, which is running about 80% of this economy in terms of generation of wealth, a lot of the skills that are producing our products and our services in the Juakali sector are not acquired through a classroom. And so as an authority, that is a minefield that we have been sitting on. We have ignored those skills. We have pretended that they are not there. And yet, they are the skills that are driving the economy of Kenya. And so, as an authority, we now have rolled out a national policy and guidelines on how to recognize prior learning. And once somebody is issued with a certificate of prior learning, which indicates that they have a skill, but they have learned this skill at the workplace, then that certificate should also be used for them to progress their studies. And we hope that we can, with time, we can work with groups to have these certificates recognized for admission. On the CPC issue, this is a really change in our education system. And what you realize is that there is a part of the specialization. Like in high school, we have the junior high school, which is year 1, 2, 3, and we have the senior high school, that is also 3 years. But in the senior high school, people diversify, that you choose to do the sciences, or you choose to do the arts, or you choose to do talent, running, sports, and so on. So in my view, and we are already working with KICD and NEC to remap our education system on the Kenya National Qualifications Framework. And so students will specialize at Form 3, they will move on to become, if you're a musician, if you want to do film, if you want to run, if you want to do sports, that we grow you in that direction. So I see that, because what has happened in the past, and I want to finish, is that we put students with different talents on the same. We say, on your marks, and the exercise is for us to climb the tree. So you put a monkey, you put an elephant, you put a fish, and you're saying, on your marks, now climb the tree. You are sure the monkey will win. And if you wanted to swim, the fish will win. So what we want to say is that we want to grow and assess students for what they are good at, so that we don't have this blanket system where all of us reach Form 4 and you get an E, another one gets an A, and we call the one who has gotten an E a failure, and yet this is a guy who is going to win a marathon the next day. So really, as a country, we have been very unfair, and it is good that we have recognized this, and the CBC is working to resolve those kind of issues.
Definitely, and it's quite interesting because all of us, we can, put ourselves, you are a monkey or an elephant in a particular situation in school or in your academic journey in this country. And hopefully that is being corrected by the competence-based curriculum. But at this particular moment, KTN News Special will take a short break. We'll return with more.